Okay, so going alongside with the written version, I'm also going to be doing a video version of the first evaluation question, which is discussing the conventions that I used in my media products. So I'm going to be discussing how I used, developed and challenged the forms of conventions in both my music video and my digipack. So starting off with my music video, prior to the planning, I decided to do some research into some professional music videos of the indie rock and alternative genre. I knew which song I want to use straight away, so this was a good starting point. So I started off looking at quite popular bands in this sort of genre of music, and I noticed that the videos that they use, they don't really link their music videos to the songs that they're singing, so they don't link it to the lyrics or the meaning of the song at all. A very popular use of music video is filming kind of like a gig or a concert and having that as the music video, so there isn't any connection to the song at all. And this kind of gave me some initial inspiration, really, because I had the idea that I kind of wanted to step away from any stereotypes and kind of look at something that was really weird and edgy and had no meaning, like no link at all to the meaning of the song or the lyrics or anything like that. But as kind of time progressed, I kind of noticed that this would be really, really difficult, and it just got too complex, especially at the level that I'm at. I don't think it would have been as successful as kind of the video that I've made now. So I'm glad that I stepped away from that. But I knew really that because the song has quite a dark undertone, I kind of wanted to make quite a dark and expressive video to go alongside it. Especially seeing some lower key bands doing this, from some of my favourite bands. I've really enjoyed their music videos, and I think they just look so cool to make because they are so expressive, and just the different shots and the like freedom that you have to use different shots and effects and things like that. I've always wanted to kind of make a video like that, and I've always wanted to make a music video, so this was kind of the perfect chance to do it. I looked at some lower key bands that do link their music videos to the songs, and I noticed that a way of showing male struggle was by using alcohol and presenting the male struggle by kind of alcohol abuse and drug abuse and stuff like that. And this is quite interesting, actually, and it was quite a lucky step that I noticed this, because the song itself that I was planning to use and used has an underlying meaning about drug abuse and alcohol abuse. So this was a really good starting point and a really good head start into planning the music video. So after finding out about this kind of link, I decided to plan about where I wanted to film a music video and what sort of ideas I wanted. Because the song itself is all about drug abuse and alcohol abuse and friendships and relationships, and how these things can affect relationships and friendships, and kind of the actions that people take whilst they're under the influence of drugs and alcohol. So I was thinking about planning and what I wanted to do for the music video and kind of conventions that are stereotyped. And I kind of wanted to be in quite an urban environment when I was filming. I didn't want to be where I live because I live in quite a rural environment. So I wanted to step away from that, and I wanted to travel and go somewhere different and film in a place that I hadn't really spent a lot of time in, filming wise. So I thought it was really lucky, really, because my brother is a university student and he's an actor, and he lives in Bristol, and this was kind of a really good chance to work with my brother, as I don't see him that often as well. So it was really exciting to work together. And as Bristol's a very urban environment, this was very stereotypical, so it worked really well and linked with kind of like the stereotypes of the different music videos, and especially with people that take drugs and alcohol, they're very stereotyped as living in an urban environment and having a very social environment. So this kind of worked, and I thought this would be a good place to film. Also, as my brother lives in Bristol, he's kind of got a lot of experience of being surrounded by people that are under the influence of drugs and alcohol, because of uni life and the social life and just how things are. So this is really good, getting ideas and bouncing ideas off of my brother and myself. even when on the day of filming, even though I had storyboards and stuff like that, I really wanted to have the freedom to explore different camera shots, or in different places. I had the freedom to explore that and play around with different shots. Also in research, I wanted to look at the things that are actually included in the filming and editing in way of conventions, and what is kind of stereotypically used. I noticed that there are a lot of close-up shots used in music videos, which like to highlight the source of kind of, I don't know, kind of highlighting the bad things. So I decided to use a lot of close-up shots of alcohol bottles. One, because I think the shots look really interesting, like having a blurred background and having something focused, and the alcohol bottle, like the labels and the lids and stuff, was really, I thought it was really cool and looked nice in the camera shots, especially when I put filters on it. It made it look really edgy and really kind of expressive. So I wanted to include that because I really wanted to highlight the fact that alcohol was the issue, because I didn't want to look into drugs or anything like that too much, just because of it sounds bad, but just obviously alcohol is a lot easier to get a hold of, and obviously you don't really want to be working with drugs or anything like that, just because it's very dangerous. And working with alcohol, you don't have to have alcohol. Like in the video, we used a vodka bottle where my brother drank out of it, which was obviously not filled with alcohol. It had water in it, but no, it was very good because the alcohol really helped to highlight the video, like the issues in the video, and made it clear to the audience that alcohol was the problem. I also noticed that there were quite long shots used in the kind of music videos of low-key bands, and I kind of picked that up, and it kind of presented people that were quite isolated and quite alone. So there were a few shots in the video that I wanted to include of my brother being in a lot of empty space, or kind of in a big space with kind of things towering over him. And there was a really nice shot that I had where it jump cuts of him moving down a street, and it's got two big buildings along the side and just a path in the middle. And I've got a video of him jump shot, like it cuts as he walks along on the beat, and it kind of, I think it works really well because it kind of shows that he's isolated and he's very alone, and there's a lot of stuff going on around him that he's unaware of, or he is aware of, and he wants to block out, because he's very like emotional. And because I was making the video all about the struggle and the effects of him drinking alcohol, it had an effect on the relationship with a girl, and they broke up, and he's trying to fix things, although at the end it all turns out to be a dream, as the reverse of the whole video at the very end, it all reverses to him then being asleep. It should, I was hoping that it kind of presented that he was asleep and he was dreaming the whole thing. But yeah, so long shots I used for the isolation. And then another thing I noticed, that people have a lot of shots of someone sleeping, and I thought that this kind of links to exhaustion and like the effects of drugs and alcohol. So I wanted to have a few shots of my brother sleeping again, kind of the idea of the video being that he was dreaming about what he wanted to do, and he wanted to fix things and everything to go back to normal, when really he was just dreaming it all. So I included the male sleeping throughout the video, kind of as a dream. Again, it kind of highlights the struggle and the exhaustion, as I said, and it was kind of a convention that I picked up through other videos, that it was kind of another way of presenting male struggle, kind of any sort of struggle. People always say to just sleep when you're stressed, or you always feel tired, so you just want to sleep and stay in bed and you don't want to do anything. So I feel that this was a really good way of highlighting kind of struggle and exhaustion and the effects of the issues that the person had. Also, there was something that I noticed in videos, and it was filtering effects. So putting a colour over a video. This was something that kind of made the video into something completely different. I really noticed when I started editing, and then when I finished editing, I did a first kind of draft of the video and I had no filters on the video at all. This was a very rough draft, and from watching that back now and watching the video, it looks like two completely different videos, and it's just, the meaning is different, the atmosphere is different. It just works so well. I decided to add kind of a blue effect onto the videos, and onto all of the shots, which kind of make it quite cold and quite edgy, and again very expressive. And this was kind of something I picked up in the research of the conventions. You kind of need something like that sometimes to kind of build up atmosphere, and I think it worked really well in the video. Also, just talking about characters and like clothing, I researched into kind of the stereotypical clothing, and it's always with people taking drugs or alcohol or in urban environments, it's always a character or a male in a hooded jacket or in a hoodie, and he's always got his hood up and he's walking around with his hood up, and he's very, it kind of shows again that he's isolated, and he's very self-contained, and I thought that this would be again very fitting when he's walking around trying to find this girl and working out his emotions. He wants to be on his own even though he's in a very open environment. It kind of shows that he's very contained as well, which is kind of, it is quite quite meaningful, I felt anyway. And very stereotypically, a hooded character is kind of seen as quite a dangerous and quite a violent person because of gangs and stuff, very stereotypical elements. And I kind of wanted to countertype this because you can tell at the end of the video when there's a kiss and they're embraced, you can tell that he's a completely harmless person, and it kind of makes you think about judgmental opinions and how stereotypes can be very judgmental. So that was another convention that I wanted to look at. So that was everything for my conventions, and that is how I used them and developed them and challenged them throughout my music video.